I don't think you can judge the success of the angle, which is just now seemingly getting started. I mean, let's also remember we don't really know where everything lies here. Our friend over on one of my favorite follows on Twitter, Andrew Dice Clay, tweeted out about an hour ago. A billionaire suspends a loyal wrestler for 8 months for something trivial, and Jack Perry is meant to be a heel. Why? Khan pretty much deserved his head driven into the floor, in all honesty. And I actually was not watching live last night because, well, my wife and I watch television together, and the last thing she'd like to do in the few hours we have together is watch wrestling. So I usually watch it after she goes to bed. But last night during the segment, I got blown up. Hey, man, please tell me you're watching this. And then another friend of ours, a mutual friend of ours, said if they were trying to turn the Young Bucks heel or babyface, it worked because the Bucks are the clear babyface here. And I thought, now that's a twist we hadn't really considered. What if he just leans into being a heel? Like if this is some sort of a, I don't think that's the intent. I don't think that's where they're going, but I do think that's smart. Like lean into it. That's what Jericho's doing. He realizes that the fans have maybe changed their mind on him and they've cooled off. Hey, let's lean into it and let me be their hero, and that'll make them hate me more. Do you think there's any chance that Tony allows himself to be positioned as a heel in all this?
Don't know him well enough. That's one that I've got to digest that one. I don't want to just viscerally react because my visceral reaction is fuck no, don't. No, he's not thinking. There's nothing that Tony Khan has done that indicates to me that there's any linear creative thought process that goes into fucking anything. Anything. Everything he does is random. I used to say he books for the internet, and for Dave Meltzer, he's booking for chat rooms. That's how low the booking strategy apparently in AEW has dropped to. This is just like chat room booking. And because everything that I've seen for the last several years indicate to me that there's no linear creative thinking at all, ever, anywhere in AEW, that I find it highly doubtful that there is a plan or any creative thinking, linear or otherwise, that Tony wants to turn this into him being a heel. Now, that's my visceral thought. If I think about it overnight, perhaps, and I'd have to really think about that. But here's the challenge in that. This is where I'm conflicted, because Tony turning himself heel, whether he wants to be or not, would probably make sense because he's turning himself heel. I mean, just look at any article, and this is actually my constructive criticism is sometimes painful because it's blunt and intentionally so, because sometimes you have to be blunt to get people's attention or make them think. But if you go to any website that captures or quotes or covers a Tony Khan tweet, whatever it's about, and then you just go down and read the reaction. I'm not talking about on my site or my YouTube show, because those people they're subscribing to our show. They listen to our podcast. They listen to us on YouTube. They're probably fans of yours or mine to one degree or another, and generally are going to say things that are supportive. You're going to have others in there for sure that just love to be who they are. And that's fine too, because I get a kick out of that shit. I enjoy it. So I'm not asking you to stop, trust me. But if you read any of the comments on any articles that are covered on just about any internet site, and you just go down to the comments, it's like 80% of them are anti-Tony. So in that regard, much like you referenced Chris Jericho, who is smart and does understand and does think creatively on a linear basis, if Tony Khan were to turn himself heel, he would be leaning into something that's already existing, and he might be able to pick up some wind.
Right.
Maybe able to get some. So that part of me goes, God, I hope so. I would really like to see that,
Yes.
because at least there's a chance it makes sense and could be effective. But here's where the other part of me comes in. This is where reality bites me in the ass. I think Tony has, as a human being, and this is an admirable quality, not something that I'm criticizing. Haters, did you hear that? This is an admirable quality and something I'm not criticizing. Tony's a genuinely nice person. He's a genuinely good person. I would bet everything I have on that. People like Tony don't like being hated. It goes against every fiber of their being. And in order to be a heel and an effective one, you not only have to have the talent, which, by the way, Tony doesn't have. Being a character requires a talent, just like being a singer, a dancer, a guitar player, or a fucking yodeler. You have to have some degree of talent. And Tony has absolutely zero in that regard. I don't care how smart he is. I don't care if he runs offense for the Jacksonville Jaguars. It doesn't mean he has that particular skill.
Being a television performer, you're saying?
Yes, as a character. So the two things that Tony would need in order to be effective as a heel don't exist. He would have to have the talent to be able to perform as a character, and he'd have to embrace the hate. I don't think Tony even likes heat on his show. I don't think he likes people just doing anything but cheering and saying, "This is awesome."
Well, that's fair. I've heard through the grapevine he doesn't love heat.
Well,
I've heard through the grapevine that when people are booing or chanting mean things, that's not his favorite.
so guess what? For him to be an effective heel and go out there in front of 800 people or whatever, 2,400 people, and having them react the way you want them to actually react, if you're in that role and you are that character, it goes against everything that makes him Tony Khan, which is an admirable thing, not a bad thing. It just is what it is. It's like asking, you or I to come out and, sing a cappella.
Yeah,
it's an opera. You know any opera?
No.
No, I don't. I don't have that skill.
No.